Welcome to the video tutorial for a Google Workspace app called Lyric Editor. In this video, we're going to walk you through the functions of the app itself, what it does, but also how to sign up for it. Since the app makes extensive use of artificial intelligence, we're going to show you how to sign up for that as well. The artificial intelligence that it uses, though, is not designed to help you write lyrics, or let's put that another way. It's not designed to write the lyrics, but it's designed to help you edit and improve your lyrics. So it's an add-on or extension for Google Docs built for songwriters. It's designed to quickly make you a better writer. So the first thing you need to do is open up a Google Doc. You can see one here. We've created a new one, called it the Lyric Editor Master. You can name your own any way you want, or if you've got existing lyrics in Google Docs, you can use the app on any Google Doc. But we would suggest you make a dedicated one and paste lyrics into it for reasons we'll get into later. So first of all, how do you get at, how do you find the tool? You can go to the extensions menu here, and add-ons, get add-ons. Put lyric in the search engine, and you can find it that way. Or you can see over here in this sidebar of the Google Doc, there are a bunch of icons. These are all Google icons here. This is to add new add-ons or extensions. So it takes you to the same place we just were. So click on this, and it gives you a little bit of information. These are some screenshots. This video is out here. So you click to install. It's going to bring up a series of what are called consent screens. The first one will have your Gmail account. You want to click on that. It tells you it's going to give access to information about your name and profile picture and email address. Continue. This add-on has been verified by Google, and these are required consent screens. So with respect to this first one, see, edit, create, and delete only the specific Google Drive files you use with this app. You can see them, but the app itself is not actually designed in any way to be able to edit, create, or delete anything in your drive. View and manage documents that this application has been installed in. You'll see how that happens. Connect to an external service. This is what allows you to go out to artificial intelligence services like Grok or ChatGPT. View your country, language, and time zone. Display and run third-party web content. And the sidebar and prompts will demonstrate those as well. So we allow that, and the app is installed. We hit done, and we close this window, and you can see that this icon of a little typewriter just popped up. That is the Lyric Editor icon. If you don't see it, then refresh your page, Command R or Control R on a PC, and it'll show up there. So before we get into that, let me just cover a couple things about a Google document. It's essentially got three main parts. It's got a sidebar on the left, which is not involved with our app, but it's there if you wanted to create headers to allow fast navigation around your doc. That's not really applicable to this. And there's this sidebar. Now, it showed up visible at the beginning of this video, but if this caret down here is facing left, it's not there. So if you can't see a sidebar in your Google document, make sure that you click that. There's another caret up here, and if it's clicked, then you can't even see the one down below. So make sure that this caret is facing up, and that'll make this caret visible, and then you can see the sidebar. All right. So that's kind of how the dock itself works. So let's click on it. This brings up the editor. Now there are essentially 4 hierarchies: getting started, lyric analysis, artificial intelligence, and other. And then you'll notice there's a little icon next to each one of the menu items, and there's 4 categories of those. There is a book, which is information. There's a magnifying glass, which is a function that is going to be run by the app itself. There is a gear, which means something in the app that operates the app itself. Basically means changing settings. And then there are support icons. There's 2 of them. There's one that's this little balloon with dots in it indicating feedback, and then this letter, which is a way for you to email us. You'll also see an additional icon which looks like a link, and in fact that indicates that any item that has a link is going to send you out to a linked page, and we'll go through all these. So the first thing we're going to cover is all of the information. Now notice when I click this once, let's just go over to here. We just brought that up, we close it. Sometimes when you click once, it'll open the sidebar, and sometimes it won't. And that's what double click hell is all about. It just explains this fact that the way Google has designed all of these add-ons, the icon to access the menu of the app sometimes has to be clicked twice, and we're just telling you to always click it twice. For instance, if we go here to this particular function, hit OK, it opens this sidebar. I just clicked once and it didn't close it. So just get used to clicking twice to open this up. So that's what that's about. The rest of these: overview, video tutorial, which is where this video sits, browser issues and formatting, is all very important. I'm not going to read all of these, but I want you to realize that you must read them all the first time that you use the app, and read all the way to the bottom, because if you close the instruction for these from the top, that works fine for these particular ones. But when you get down to here in the lyric analysis section, if you don't go to the bottom of the page and hit the OK button, it'll never bring up the functioning part, which is this. And we'll get into what's happening with that in a second. So it's very important to read all of these and understand all of these. Now, let's talk about browser issues. I'm just going to demonstrate this rather than have you read the whole thing. So when we select one of these analysis algorithms and we bring up the functioning part of it, first thing it does is it pulls this lyric into this space, and then we're going to send it out to an artificial intelligence service. But you notice that you can see all these buttons here. If your page was shorter, you wouldn't see the buttons and you wouldn't even know they were there. So you're like, well, what does this thing even do? I can't see anything, because it's not apparent to you that by coming over here you can make things visible. So there's an easy way to fix this, if your computer screen is big enough, is to make sure that you're seeing those buttons. If you're working on a smaller screen, there's another way to deal with this problem. Go up to the top where these 3 buttons are, and you can change, you can zoom the page in and out. Let me just show you what you might be seeing on a small screen. You don't see the buttons. So you need to find a happy medium between the size of the page itself and the visibility of all of the elements that we're looking at here. And if you're in a very small space, and incidentally, this app is a desktop app, it's not going to work on a phone or an iPad. And that's not a default of the app itself. It's just these Google add-ons are not designed to work on phones or pads. They only work on desktop computers. So utilize the length of the page and the zooming process to make sure you can see everything here. So that's the nature of the browser issues. This formatting lyrics, this is extremely important, and you want to get into this. It's a little bit of a long read, but it'll only take you a couple of minutes to get through it. So that's all that information. The information that's down here, there's only 3: privacy policy, terms of service, and website. They all take you to out to the associated website, which is lyriceditor.com. It's right here. Notice editor is spelled E-D-I-T-E-U-R, not O-R. Feedback is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Takes you to a form. If there's something that you like, if that you don't like, or that there's an improvement you want to suggest, click this. Tell us whatever problems you see. Tell us whatever suggestions you have, and if you really like it, give us a rave review. Give us a link to your music, and we'll post it up on the website. All right, we're going to close that down. Okay, so that's what the feedback thing does. Contact us takes you to our contact website if you've got a problem you can't resolve, or for whatever reason you want to get in touch with us. It brings that website up. Skip and unskip instructions. Once you've used this a lot and done a lot of analysis here, when you click these, you're not going to need to read everything that's on here. But please do read it the first few times, because a lot of what you learn from this website is not only the insights about your lyric that come from artificial intelligence, which we're going to get into, but also this information. View this as a holistic whole, as the entire thing is a teaching process. The information we give you, and then the analysis that comes back from artificial intelligence from steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7, and then this premium, which we've just added, which we'll get into in a second. 5 and 6 do not go out to AI. They're internal to the app, and we'll cover them as well. So that's all of the getting started information. The information down here. We'll come back to skip and unskip instructions. Well, let's just knock that out right now. So once you've used this a lot, you don't really need those instructions. So you can click on this, and you can hit click skip, and it'll turn them off. We're going to leave it on for right now. So let's talk about AI, because you're going to need to set up AI. So we click on the set up an AI service. You've got instructions here. Click the OK button. Takes you out to the AI API interface. We have the program set up where you can sign up for ChatGPT, Grok, or Claude. It only costs about, you can park $5 at each one of these, and you can process, in the case of ChatGPT and Grok, hundreds of songs. We got up to 500 before we hit $5. So actually, we got up to 427 before we hit $5. So it's very, very economical. Claude, we don't know. We haven't really figured out how much that costs, but you can give it a try yourself. We would at least advise you to sign up for ChatGPT and Grok. Claude's optional. Do that if you want to. So the default is Grok. What you'll find with these is you're going to get slightly different answers, and in the process of building this app, we have sort of seen ChatGPT and Grok leapfrog each other in terms of the quality of the responses that it gives. We're on Grok 4, which just literally came out a few days before we made this video, and it is very powerful. But definitely try them both, because it's like getting two separate reviews. So let's say we wanted to sign up for Grok. We hit the sign up button, and it takes us out to where you'll log in, and from there you just follow the instructions that are in the site. Same thing for ChatGPT. You're going to only need one piece of information. We've loaded all the rest of this in here. The only thing you need is an API key. And once you get that API key, make sure you write it down someplace permanently and then fill it in this space here. So if you, for whatever reason, forget the key, you can just click this and get a new one and put it in here. So even if you lose it, you can get another one. Okay, so that's that. We're going to save and close here. So we didn't put a key in and it's going to tell you. You'll see these kinds of warnings come up if there's something wrong. So we're going to just cancel out of this. All right, so we're going to paste this in here. It's longer than the space, so even though I put it in there, it isn't going to do you any good. All right, now that we've signed up for an AI service, we can actually start to use the app now. So let's go to the first one, check chorus and hook. Now the first thing you might ask is, why do you need to check chorus and hook? And the reason is because a lot of beginning songwriters or songwriters that have been writing for a while, or songwriters that just write for themselves, don't really worry about pitching songs to third parties, don't realize that a lyric, I can't say it's better, but a chorus and a hook is an important element if you want to pitch your songs commercially. If you don't, you can ignore this. And the response you're going to get back from AI is actually going to tell you that. But if you are trying to write songs that get reactions when you play them out, and that you can pitch to the street, so to speak, whether it's in Los Angeles, Nashville, Atlanta, wherever, London, choruses and hooks are very important. And this explains all that in some depth, so read through that. So what's going to happen here is that this lyric gets pulled into this sidebar. We're going to send it out to Grok, and Grok is going to look at this thing, and it's going to try and figure out if it's got a chorus and if it's got a hook and what they are. So it says in the provided lyric, the chorus is a repeating section. I wish I was dreaming. It was all true. It got that correct. Note, if you do not have a chorus, but you do have repeating lines, AI will usually flag the line as the chorus. So if you had like a song with just not chorus, but each section ended up with a particular line, the AI will flag that as the chorus, which is, I guess, somewhat true, but it's really a no chorus song. Anyway, then on the hook analysis, the hook in the provided lyric is "I Wouldn't Love You." We ask it to look inside what it thinks is the hook for a shorter, and it picks up that shorter as "Wouldn't Love You," and in this case, that's actually what we think is the title of the song. It goes and looks at to see if there's any repeated phrase. Now, why do we do this? Because sometimes writers will put, in effect, two hooks in a song. And you kind of want to avoid that because it confuses the listener. The whole point of having a repeated chorus and a repeated hook is to make your song memorable. But if you've got two hooks, it can be confusing. So this repeated phrase analysis is really designed to search and destroy, if you will, songs that have two hooks. So that's how that works. And if you decide to rewrite this thing and you want to load it again, after you've changed it, you just hit the load button and then you send it out again. Now let's just show you one other thing here. Let's go out of this. You can either close it here or you can just double click and close it that way. What if you wanted to then go check it out with ChatGPT? We come to, that's what that Switch AI service is. We select that. Let's check this again. It changes the button. Now it's going to be submit to ChatGPT. See, we haven't signed up for that yet, so let's sign up for that. So we're gonna close this down, open the sidebar back up again. We're gonna set up an AI service. If this is the first time you've done this, you're gonna go to here. We've already gone and done all that, so we're just gonna put our key in here. Now we're going to check chorus and hook. Submit to ChatGPT. If you hit this button before this lyric appears in here, you're going to get an error. So make sure that the lyric shows up first, because it's actually sending, that button sends the lyric and a prompt that we've carefully curated over the last year or so that this thing's been in development. Because if you know anything about AI, the prompt's very important. You have to be very specific, and you have to use language it understands and doesn't get confused. So this came up with the same thing Grok did. I wish I was dreaming as the chorus. It picks out I Wouldn't Love You, picks out the exact same thing. It picks out a part of that, Wouldn't Love You, which is exactly the same. Picks out Hickory Dickory Dock. So this is almost identical in terms of the results it got. All right, so we're going to close that. So what's the second thing? Check pronouns. So it's easy when you're writing a song to put a couple characters in there. Frank and Larry went to the top of the hill. Larry fell down. That's clear, but what if we said he fell down? Well, then it's not clear because we've used a pronoun. And we can put in our song or create in our song what's called pronoun confusion. This can happen in prose writing as well. So we're going to see if there's any pronoun confusion in this song. Seems like ChatGPT is being a little bit slower than Grok right now. But it got there. In the provided lyric, only one character is explicitly named, Winnie the Pooh. However, this character is a well-known fictional character, is not likely to be confused with any other characters. There's no use of the pronoun he or she, so there's no risk of pronoun confusion. So we didn't use any pronouns in here. So, well, we used a few. We've got I, we've got you. Let's see if it says anything about that. We've got this. Pronoun our is not used, so there's no confusion there. Overall, the lyric does not suffer from pronoun confusion or overabundance of named characters. Good, so that's all good. Let's close this out. Let's look at the next one, which is called point of view. Point of view is first person, second person, third person. How is this? What point of view is the song written from? Now there, I think I clicked the X instead of the, let's do this again. I may have just not waited long enough. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's go back over to Grok. Let's change to Grok. And we're not going to do Claude because we don't have a key in yet for that. So let's do point of view. That's where we're at. I think Grok's operating a little faster. This is Grok 4, incidentally. Okay, maintains a consistent first person perspective using I, me, and occasionally we. No erroneous shifts occur, such as switching from third person her, him to second person you. That often happens where you're addressing somebody. You're writing, let's say, a love lost song, and she did this, she did that, and then you get to the chorus and you address her directly as you, and that can be very confusing to the listener. There are times when you make shifts in point of view and shifts in pronouns and shifts in tenses, which is upcoming, where you're consciously doing that, and we make a note on all these in here that, for instance, point of view can be subtle. A writer may change from one to another in the song's context. That switch may be a literary device, adding irony, drama, poignancy, etc. If you did this, you know you did it. So ignore the AI comments. If they flag a point of view change or a tense change, assuming you didn't mean to change those, but you did, and AI flagged it, then it's time to rewrite. So let's close that out. Go to the next one, which is tenses. Let's check that out. Again, read these informational things the first few times until you really know what it is this feedback means to you. Okay, provide lyric provides a mix of tenses, primarily conditional subjunctive, to evoke hypothetical regrets, but features several inconsistent shifts that could confuse the narrative. The opening verse uses present tenses like roses and bees, daisies buzzed after bees, etc., etc. However, it slips into simple past tense with Winnie the Pooh didn't eat all the honey, which disrupts the conditional consistency without clear intent. Now, there is a note in here that says tense can be subtle in lyrics. A writer may change from one to the other, and in the song's context, the switch may be a literary device, adding irony, drama, poignancy, etc. Same thing as before. If you did this, you know it. And I think if you read this lyric, if horses rode men, grass ate cows, cats ran for cover from any old mouse, roses and daisies buzzed after bees, boats were on land, houses at sea. If every cloudy day turned sunny, Winnie the Pooh didn't eat all honey, summer or winter and the other way around, then all the world would be upside down. I don't see anything inconsistent in that, just reading it. So you have to be careful with this. It's going to flag things, and sometimes it'll be right, and sometimes it won't really understand exactly what you were doing as a writer. But since you understand it, you can ignore the answer that you get. Okay, so there's only one more main algorithm here that checks AI, and that's 7. Premium does as well, but we'll get to that at the end here. So let's do number 7 because it's pretty interesting. What this does is it's going to compare your song to hit songs in your genre. As you've seen so far with this app, it's really point and click. You don't have to do much. You do have to go put the API key in, so that's something other than just clicking, and you do have to put the genre in here, but mostly you just point and click. Pretty straightforward. But read all. If there's language like this in a sidebar, make sure you read it all because it's there because it matters. If you don't put a genre in here, it's going to try and figure it out. Let's go ahead and assume that we think this is an Americana song, so we're going to put that in there and send it out to Grok. And let's see what it says. Provide lyric lines moderately well with Americana, a genre that often blends folk, country, rock. Recent hits in the genre like Jason Isbell's "Cover Me Up," Tyler Childers, White House Roads, etc., etc. So it's a pretty detailed explanation of this. Stylistically, it leans into Americana's acoustic-friendly sing-along. And it kind of has a wrap-up at the end. Overall, it fits Americana, but skews toward folk-pop whimsy. If I disagree slightly, I'd suggest it best aligns with alt country or folk, akin to early Avett Brothers tracks for its playful narrative twists. This is a really powerful analysis for you because it's going to tell you, it's going to pick a song that pick songs from the genre that you're in. It's going to tell you if it thinks you're in the wrong genre. If you do give it the wrong genre, you can reload this lyric and you can put a different genre in here. And you might want to do that because, especially if you're pitching songs, you don't want to pitch it to the wrong artist. You want to pitch it to artists who actually are best suited for this kind of a song. The other thing it's going to tell you is it's kind of going to give you an idea if your song is weak in relation to these hit songs. So be looking out for that. Now, we've got a bonus feature here. Called Premium. Right now it's free. We hit OK here. Now what does this do? This is going to compare your song versus a song that you pick, and this tells you how to do that. Or if you don't put anything in here, it's going to go out and say, okay, in its mind, what is this song like? Let's leave it blank for right now. So it's going to compare your song to a song that it thinks it's very similar to, and it's going to tell you how that song is superior to yours or how yours is superior to it. In other words, it's a side-by-side comparison. And this may help you substantially in the rewriting process to make your song better. Okay, so let's see. Provide a lyric, clear whimsical exploration. Interesting, it picks out the hook, Wouldn't Love You. For comparison, the provided lyric brings to mind Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Hip Harburg, which makes sense. It's got references to that in there. Anyway, so you're going to want to do this on your own song, and you're going to want to do this with different APIs or different AIs because it's like having multiple reviewers. It's like you went into a session with 3 different publishers and they all gave you feedback on your song, or you were in a Nashville Songwriters Association meeting with a room full of people and you're critiquing or reviewing or providing feedback on each other's songs. And the more feedback you get, the better off you are, because if there's a unanimity of opinion, then usually there's something you need to change, especially if that opinion comes from a pro writer. So here you can kind of view this AI as a pro writer, these Grok, ChatGPT, and Claude, because they have been trained on a lot of music. So you can utilize these alternate evaluations you get from them and compare them against real world ones that you get from people. So that's that. Now there's only 2 more things that we've got to cover, and that's check rhymes and Flush Kincaid. So let's go to check rhymes. So read this explanation, and then when you actually get to the check rhymes sidebar, there's a lot of information in here, and you're going to want to, this is essentially a primer on rhyming, and you're going to want to read it all because it gives you a lot of ideas of sophisticated ways that you can use rhymes in your song. Now, what you're going to focus on here is the 4 main rhyming errors that we see with new songwriters: inconsistent section rhyme scheme, recycling the same vowel rhyme sound, unvaried rhyme scheme, and boring or trite rhymes. And I'm not going to explain all that. It's all explained down here. Now, you might say, okay, well, why doesn't AI just give us an answer here? Because it doesn't. You notice there's no send to AI button, submit to AI here. The reason for that is that we have found through a lot of experimentation that artificial intelligence is not yet smart enough to even identify a lot of rhymes. They can do pure rhymes like brain and rain or true and you, but they have a lot of trouble with believe and me, where you've got extra consonants in here that are different in believe than in me, or around you got a D consonant, so it's not a pure rhyme. It's called a part rhyme or half rhyme or slant rhyme. It can, if you asked it to write a song, it might actually use some of those half rhymes, but if you ask it to try and find them, it has difficulty doing that. So you have to find the rhymes yourself, and you have to see whether or not you're breaking any of these. Well, we don't want to call them rules, but rules of thumb. Let's put it that way. So you do the analysis here, but this is extremely important. If you read through all of this, it probably make a lot of sense to you. All right, then the last one of these is Flesch-Kincaid test. You can see all of this is check except for Flesch-Kincaid. It's a test, and it's an analysis. It's a mathematical analysis. It's based off an article we wrote for American Songwriter years ago using an analytical tool called Flesch-Kincaid, which was developed by two linguists years ago. It's actually built into Microsoft Word, and this explains all of it and how it works. This is rather long, and you must read it. You must understand what you're looking at here. So it brings up, pulls the lyric in here, and you have to push the button to run the test. And what it's doing is it's measuring the simplicity or complexity of the language in the song, and it does that by looking at the length of the lines and the number of syllables. You can see it's got average letters per word, average words per sentence, average syllables per word. So it's a mathematical formula, and what it turns out here is grade point levels. So what this is saying is that in order to understand this song, you have to read at a grade level of kindergarten. Anything from 0 to 1 is kindergarten, 1 to 2 is second grade, third grade, fourth grade, etc. Now that might seem kind of crazy, but just as a point of reference, and this is all explained in the instructions to this, John Grisham's books, on average, can be read and understood by a fourth grader using the same exact mathematical formula. Same thing with Stephen King's books. So writers who write books for recreational readers are utilizing the same technique that you should be utilizing in your songs, your lyrics, which is keep them simple. But of course the real art form is to keep it simple, but make it something profound or something interesting or something funny or something poignant or something that just grabs the lyric, the listener. And we would argue that a 0.56 rating on a song is probably analogous to fourth grade for a novelist, or maybe even more, because when you read a novel, you're focused on that novel. You're not mowing the lawn at the same time. You might take a drink, Coca-Cola, and take a swig, but then you're going back to the book and you're 100% focused. When you listen to music, you might be in a bar and the music is just in the background. So we as songwriters, or your listeners are driving a car, or they're streaming it on their computer while they're working on their computer. We have to keep these things simple in order to cut through all of that clutter, if you will, and get our listeners to focus on what it is we're delivering to them. So that's in essence what's going on here. If your songs are in the fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth, you really need to pay attention to what we tell you down here, what we tell you here, and what showed up in that instruction on the front end of this. So that's all of the functions, that all of the lyric analysis, all of these important bits of information you need to read. Watch this video. Now, let's say that you've been using this for quite a while and you don't need to read any of that anymore. Then you can come here and you can turn this off. Now, when you click any one of these, it's just going to go straight to the sidebar. So after a while, you're going to want to do that. Now, is this the only tool you need to become a great writer? No. And we would strongly suggest that you join Nashville Songwriters Association. There's about 100 chapters, mostly in the United States, but a few overseas. I think there's some in Sweden and in the UK and in Australia. But these days, even if there's not one close to you, they have Zoom meetings every month, and the main thing that happens at those meetings is that you play your song, you provide a lyric, everybody gets to look at the lyric, listen to the song, and you get feedback from other people like you. The coordinators are pretty serious songwriters, and there are a lot of other review processes involved at NSCI. You can actually send your songs up to Nashville and get them reviewed by a pro. So use this tool and use that tool and compare feedback, compare reviews, and you'll become a better writer. Thank you. Hope you enjoy this. Use the feedback form if you decide there's something you want to tell us about this. Thank you.